you've stepped into a completely different world? Well, what if I told you that difference is anything but random? There's actually a hidden blueprint at work, and today we're gonna uncover it. I mean, think back to your own school days for a second. Were you sitting in perfect rows just trying to soak up everything from a lecture? Or were you huddled in groups, debating and building something together? That massive difference isn't just a teacher's personal style. Nope, it's a very deliberate choice, and it's rooted in a much, much deeper idea. It turns out there's this kind of invisible architecture behind every single decision made in a school. It's a blueprint that dictates the goals, the teaching methods, even the entire vibe of a learning environment. And this blueprint, well, it has a name: educational philosophy. The best way to think about it is like the operating system running in the background of a computer. You don't always see it, but it's the core set of beliefs that powers everything, from the day's lesson plan right down to the final report card. So what are we really talking about here? Well, officially, it's the part of philosophy that wrestles with the big questions. You know? Like, what are we even trying to achieve with education? What values should we be teaching? And this isn't just some abstract thought experiment. It's the actual compass that gives direction to the entire journey of teaching and learning. At its heart, this whole philosophy thing really just boils down to answering three super fundamental questions for any educator. First, what are we going to teach? Second, why is this stuff important? And third, how are we going to teach it effectively? The answers to just these three questions literally create the entire educational experience you see. Okay, so how does this big abstract idea actually affect the people on the front lines, the teachers? Well, for them, this is not just some academic exercise. It's a practical, day-to-day guide that shapes their classroom in very real ways. You can think of it like a teacher's personal toolkit. Having a clear philosophy is the compass that helps them decide, okay, is my goal today for students to just memorize facts, or is it to develop critical thinking? Or should I be lecturing, or should I let my students discover the answers on their own? It's the foundation for everything, building a meaningful curriculum and a truly professional, ethical approach to their job. And this right here really gets to the heart of it. Without that guiding why, teaching can just become a mechanical process of checking off boxes. Philosophy is what breathes purpose into it, turning a job into a genuine mission. All right, so we've talked a lot about the theory, but what does this blueprint actually look like when you walk into a classroom? Let's see how these big ideas actually translate into reality. Here are two classic examples. On one side, you've got the sage on the stage. This is where the teacher is the expert, basically pouring knowledge into students' brains. Then on the other side, you have the guide on the side. Here, the teacher's more of a facilitator, helping students build their own understanding. Now, these aren't just teaching styles. The implications are huge. A sage approach might create fantastic workers who are great at following instructions. But a guide approach, that's designed to foster innovators and problem solvers. See? Two different philosophies, two totally different worlds for a student. And this blueprint, it touches everything. It dictates the teaching strategies, the classroom rules, the kind of relationship a teacher builds with their students, and even how they measure success. It is the invisible force shaping the entire experience, from top to bottom. So this brings us to a really core idea: the incredibly tight link between philosophy and education. They aren't two separate things, they're fundamentally intertwined. Really, they're like two sides of the very same coin. This quote just puts it perfectly. Philosophy is the theory, that's the why, and education is the practice, that's the how. They're in a constant feedback loop. You really can't have one without the other in any meaningful way. You can really see that dynamic right here. Philosophy is the side that dreams up the ideal, the big aims, the values, the theories. Then education takes those dreams and tries to put them into action in the real world. It's this constant dance between what should be and what actually is. So all of this kind of brings the question back around to you. Because look, whether you're a teacher or not, you definitely have beliefs about how learning works best. So what's in your personal blueprint? And this isn't just something for educators to think about. Your personal philosophy of education shapes how you learn new skills, how you might teach your own kids someday, how you vote on school policies, and even how you approach problems at work. It's actually a pretty fundamental part of your entire worldview. So let's end with this. If you had to start from scratch and design a school, and you had to boil it all down to one single guiding principle, what would it be? Would it be curiosity, discipline, maybe collaboration, or community? Your answer, well, that reveals the very foundation of your own hidden blueprint.